Yes, exception. Okay, you said something out of order. Right. Now, further, if you have to tell, now errors mainly we can divide it into right now syntax errors and exceptions. Right now, syntax errors. Right now, will stop the program and it will stop the execution. Right now, and the other hand, like the exceptions, right, will be raised or will be thrown when you are going through the normal flow of the operation. For an example, it could be what right now if let's say you are trying to reach a file, maybe the file is not available, then you will get an exception. Right now, likewise, first of all, in Python there are several built-in errors we may have seen it already, and then we'll see how can we um, handle those errors. Right. Therefore, exception handling or error handling means when an error occurs or exception occurs. Right now, the program will stop and will display the error message. Therefore, we're gonna learn how to handle those exceptions or the errors. Right now in Python, we can handle the exceptions using try keyword and the except keyword. Try except. Right. Then there may be mainly, as I said previously, the program we can have uh, two type of errors like syntax errors and the exceptions. Right now, syntax errors, like if you know syntax errors, um, right now in day to day, when you make the codings, we may make syntax errors. Right now, for an example, um, let's say I'm gonna write what. Mm, okay, let's say I'm gonna have while loop, while true, and I'm gonna say print hello, and I'm gonna save this in the desktop, call ex.py. Now you can see syntax error. What it says, invalid syntax expected. Right now, let's say now I forgot this also. Now I have written like this. Now it says invalid syntax. Why? Now what's the problem here? What is the problem here? It says in line number 1, there's an issue. What is it? Can anyone tell me what's wrong here? Colon is missing, no? Let's say I put the colon. Now this is running infinitely. Like since I have used in one line. Right, now let me stop this by pressing Ctrl C. And if I write like this, now what happens now? Now I'm getting another error saying indentation error, because it is expected an indented block after while statement. Here you have declared while statement. Therefore, if you are going to the next line, then you need to have body statement for this. Then the indentation is missing. See? Right now, these are syntax errors now we are getting. Right. Then those are the syntax errors. Right now, here let's say now let's say we have print 10 divided by 0. Okay, right now x divided by y. Now x is equals int input the y is equals this. And now if I say 10 and 3, it would give you the answer. Right now, if I enter 10 and 0, now the program gets stopped because syntactically the code is correct, no error. Right? Syntactically, syntaxes are correct because you are asking usually two numbers and first number divided by the second number. The problem comes if you run the program and if you enter the second number as any other number except 0, this will work. But if you enter 0, the program will stop and then it will raise an exception. Now this is what you call as it says 0 division error. This is an exception. Exception means if the expression is syntactically correct and it may cause an error when an attempt is made to execute it. Therefore, errors detected during the execution are called exceptions. Therefore, remember, errors detected before running, before the execution, are called as syntax errors. Syntax errors. Now, these were syntax errors we had. Initially, we had right now syntax errors. Right now, see here the syntax errors and errors detected before you run the program are called the syntax errors, and errors detected in between or in the execution of the program are called as the exceptions. Errors occurred during the execution is called as the exception. Right. Right. Then because whenever if it is an error detected at the beginning, then the program won't run, error will be shown. But the exception is the error will come during the execution. Right. Therefore, if during the execution, the program will stop suddenly and then it will raise the error. Now, that is what you call as an exception. Right now, how to handle the exception. Right now, we have to figure it out how to handle the exception. Right now, how to handle the exceptions. Right, the exceptions can be handled by try except blocks. Right. Okay, then right now we'll see how to handle the exceptions. If there is an exception that can be handled using try except blocks. Right. Now here we know already the error we are getting, 0 division error, right? We know already the error we are getting. Therefore here I can put this inside the try catch block. Try inside the try block I can perform this and then I can have the accept. I can have this inside the try block, and then I can have the accept. Right. If accept, accept, then I can say print an exception thrown. If I enter the correct figures, it will run correctly, right? You see? But if I enter 0, now start stopping the program, it will display. Okay, let's say after this also, I'm gonna have end of program. Right now, even the correct answers, it will display, and even the wrong answer, that means if even the exception has been thrown, it would display an exception thrown, and the program will continue, and then at the end it will display end. Because what we did was we have used try and except block. Try block. Here the try block, now here we put the code we suspect that might throw an exception inside the try block. Therefore, the try block allows you to catch the exceptions thrown. Or if there is any error in the code, try block will handle the exceptions raised. The except block allow you to handle the exception. Now, try block will catch the exception, and except block will allow you to handle the exception. Now, the way we have handled is we have displayed a message saying exception thrown. Because if the program stops, rather stopping the program, right now if user has entered 0 and if it is the 0 divided by 0 happens, now the program will display exception thrown and the program will continue, rather stopping the program. Now that is what you call as exception handling. Because if there is no exception handlers are there, when exception is thrown, right, the program will stop and it will display an error message. Therefore, here what we did was the code we suspect which will raise an exception, we have put it inside the try block. Therefore, if an exception is raised, try block will catch it. And then except block will allow us to handle the exception. Right, now if you want to handle the exact type of exception, now this is the exception. Then I can have except zero division error. Except zero division error. Then I'm going to say message saying cannot divide by 0. Right. Cannot divide by 0. Right. Now, if user enters second value as 0, now it display cannot divide by 0. But if user has entered any other number, it would calculate the answer and then display. Right. If you have given 0, then exception will thrown and then the try block will catch it and then the respective accept block will handle it. Now this accept block only can handle 0 division errors. This only can handle 0 division errors. Right now, for an example, if I enter A as Y, now I am getting an error saying value error, invalid literal for integer, because we are expecting an integer, but invalid literal was entered. Right now, this is what you call as a value error. Right now, I want you to handle the code for value error. If user has entered a different type of value, I need to say invalid input. Try to handle it. Others quickly send me. Now, the problem here is now if user enter a different format, different type of value, that happens here. Therefore, we have to make sure that also inside the try block there. Now only how it can handle. Now let's see whether this will be handled because we have put that inside the try block. Right now, if you enter a letter, you get the error. Why? The program stopped because the try block handles it, catches it, but the except block cannot handle it. Why? We have used except block only for zero division error. Therefore, now if you want a separate kind of except block, you can have value error. Then Invalid format. Then it would display invalid input type now. See? Now, because now I am using, if it is a value error, I have a handler for the value error. If it is a zero division error, I have a handler for the zero division error. Then I am handling the relevant exception. Right now, let's say I'm going to have print Z as well. Right, there's nothing called Z. Right now, I'm getting a name error because it's a different type of exception. Therefore, if you want to handle the exception by exception separately, you can do it. Otherwise, you can have except block at last, and then you can say an exception throw. An exception throw. Right now, yes. Now, what does it say? Expect, accept. This is a syntax error, right? Because invalid syntax. Right now, because here it tried to print a Z value, there's nothing called Z, therefore it would say an exception thrown. Why? Because there is no such specific handler for the name mirror, because I haven't used it. Like if you want, you can have a separate handler for the this as a name mirror. Invalid variable name. Then it would display invalid variable name. Likewise, this is how you can handle the exceptions. Right. Now, first I want you to figure it out. What are the type of exceptions or errors we have in Python, and how can we handle those? Right. We have, okay, try to use the syntax error. Now syntax error, we know that's error, and then we have type error, and then type error, we have index error. What else we have? IO error, key error, value error. We have that. No? And then we have zero division error. Likewise, figure out what else we have, what are the other error types we have, and try to have separate handler for all. And yes, we have discussed about last week import error, IO error, I think capital error. And then import error, import error, zero division error, key error, value error, IO error, index error, name error, type error. Right now, first of all, now we need to figure out what are the error types, and then, as discussed previously, how to handle it. Right. Okay, then um, syntax errors we discussed. What is a syntax error? That means before the program runs, if there is any syntax errors, those will be raised, and therefore, before you run the program, you have to correct those in order to run. Therefore, most probably indentation issues or um, the colon missing, like those would be the syntax errors, right? Now, the type error. Now, the type error happens when you have the wrong types or invalid types. Right now, you get the type error. Right now, we have already handled the type error here. Right now, value error. Okay. Let's try to handle the type error using this code. Here, we have, well, let's say now, I'm gonna convert a equals int. Right. I'm trying to convert string value into an integer. Right now, here invalid input type. Right now, here this was handled by invalid input type. Right now, this was handled by the invalid input type, the value error. Right now, how can we get the type error? Tell me a scenario where we can have the type error. Type error, tell me how can you handle type error? Now, okay, let's say now, uh, mm, message equals hello. Plus 10, right. No exception thrown, except, okay, I don't have this anymore. Let's say this could be a type error. Now, this because can only concatenate string, uh, can only concatenate string, not an integer to a string. Right now, we know about syntax error. We know about the type error. Right now, type error means, in simply we could say inappropriate type, invalid type assigned, invalid type. Right. Uh, right. The name error. Right now, let's see the name error. We have already handled that name error. Right now, we have the name error. We have already handled it. What is the name error? Not found variable name. Name of the variable name not found. Variable not found. Then you'll get the name error. Right. Then we have what? Index error. So as one of you have sent me the index error. Right now, I have a list. Let's say we have a type error. Hmm, I have a list. I'm going to print the list. Third index value. I'm going to print the third index value, which is not available. The type error right now, the type error we have handled now. Right. Then let me handle this. Index list index out of range. Right now, this is how you have the index issues because the list has only two values. I'm trying to find the third index value of it. Then this is index error means out of range, index out of range. Index out of range. Right. Then we have the key error. Okay, now mainly you may find this, you may have experienced this on while we are discussing about the dictionary. Right now, let's see how to handle that as well. The dictionary right now, we have uh, DICT is equals name gen to page 20 and let's say I'm going to print DICT name is address. There is no such key called address. Right now, you will get key here, address. The key not found. Key not found. Right now, that is when you get the key error. Then we have the value error. We have the value error. Well, right now, value error means right now when you receive invalid type and when you receive the invalid type of the value right now. Value, what to type? Inappropriate value. Invalid value. Right now we have discussed about that, and then attribute error. Right now, have you seen this attribute error before? Right now, quickly find out when you get the attribute error and how to handle the attribute errors. Invalid variable name happens from the name error. Now you can get the attribute error. String object has no attribute called append. The string objects does not have an attribute called append. Like then you get invalid attribute. Instead of if you want to concatenate, you need to have plus. And now if you want to concatenate, you have to use like this plus. Right now, this is how you can do it. But now, when you use append, append is not available. There's no attribute called append. That is how you get the attribute error. Right, zero division error also we did it. All right, now here we discuss zero division error. Right, and then right, and then we have to discuss IO error later. Then we'll see import error, how to have the import error. Right now, if I try to say import import code, import code. Likewise, if you have a line, import code, import code. This is module not found error. Import CC. Right now, you get the module not found error. This is module not found error. Right now, import error. Right. Okay, now this is how you handle the exceptions, and then how you catch the exceptions and how you handle them. Right. Now, if you if you have multiple type of exceptions, right, then if you don't want to handle each by each separately, then rather handling all these things, you can have one except block saying except invalid exception thrown. Therefore, no matter what type of exception has been thrown, the superclass of the exception might handle it and will give you the error. Right, now it is the exception thrown. And after the exception also, right now, if you want, you can have else statement as well. If the exception block has not been executed, you can have the else block. All good. If it is an exception thrown, it would display exception thrown. If there is no exception thrown, then it would display all good. Except block, what does it say? Line number 4 is accepted, acceptor, finally block. Right now, let's delete this for a while. Right, then since no exception has been thrown, it would say all good. Right, then if you have, there's another thing called finally. Finally block must be followed after try block or except block. If you are using a finally block, that must be followed after try or the except block. You can't have try finally except or except finally. It has to followed by try except finally or try finally. Right now you can see here the else statement gave us the error, syntax error, because else statement, if you are using else keyword, that has to be followed by the except block. If you are using else, that has to be followed by the except block. Right now, since I am using finally, you can use the else block as well. Right. Now, no matter what, the program has not stopped. 5 divided by 5, 1.0, no issues. And 5 divided by 0, now you can see exception thrown and finally executed. No matter whether you have handled the exception, whether there's an exception thrown or not, if you use the final block, it will get executed always. Finally will get executed always. If you're using final block, it has to followed by try block or try except block. You can't have finally alone. It has to followed by try or try and accept. You can find out, try out all these.
So can you explain the finally again?
Yeah, final block cannot be used alone, right? If you're using final block, it has to be, you have to put it after try block or try except block. Final block will get executed always. If there's an exception thrown or not, final block will get executed. That means if there is no exception thrown, but the final block will get executed. Now here, let's say now, in my code now, we don't have The what? Right now, no except blocks are there. No? Right now, if it is 4 divided by 0, then you get 0 division by error. Right now, the program stops, right? Division by 0. See? But you can see it has displayed finally executed. See? Finally executed has happened. Right. Now, and also let's say we have uh, print inside, try, end. Let's say we have something called end. Now, if you run this, right, if it is correct values given, you can see 2.5 would display, inside try would display, finally executed would display, end would display. Right now, if you enter 5 divided by 0, now it says finally executed. The program displays the finally block, and then it has not executed this inside try, or the end it has not displayed because those were not executed. The program has stopped. Right. And it has given the 0 division error because I am not using the except block. Therefore, if use a finally block, if specified, will be executed regardless the try block raises an exception or not. Whether the try block raises an exception or not, finally block will get executed.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Right. Now, any questions up to now? Right now, how can we use the finite block also we discussed? Right now, sometimes we may need to raise exceptions. Right now, for an example, let's say we want to raise an exception. For an example, let's say we ask user to enter the x, and if x is less than, let's say, marks, you're going to ask user to enter the marks. And if the marks are, if the x is less than or equals to 4, if marks are less than 45, if marks are less than 45, I'm going to raise, but you can raise any type of error you want. Right now, you can raise an exception. Raise exception. Raise exception saying fair. Right now, if you right. Right now, if you enter like greater than 45, this would work. But if you enter less than 45, it will throw an exception saying it will raise the exception pair because the program will stop working and it will raise the exception because this is how you raise the exception. Okay, not only exception, you could raise any type of given errors as well. Now, try to figure it out how to handle this custom exception. Now, how to handle this custom exception. Now, if you want uh, exception, or if you want to have, let's say, value error or type error or name error, whatever, you can do it. Let's say now if you want to raise a name error, then you can have name error. Not should it should not be here, right? Because if you enter marks less than 45, it will raise a name. See, now it will raise a name error saying fail because whatever the error you want to have. If you want, you can raise an exception. Now, what I want you to do is, if you are raising an exception, if you put that inside the try catch block, can you handle it? Exception. Capital AXE. Exception, yes. Right. Okay, try to handle this quickly. How to handle it now? Send me the code quickly. Right. Okay. Now this is how you handle the exceptions. Okay. Now I want you to see. Okay. Let's say quickly create a method called calculator. Right now, let's say we have a calculator method. Define a method called okay, get a calculator or something, or get product or get ratio, and then pass the two values and there do the division and then see how you can handle the exceptions over there. Right now, for an example, um, let's say we'll define a method called define function, which takes x and y. Right now, there I'm gonna print x divided by y. Right now, here I'm gonna take the x value. Here I'm gonna call the y value. But then we're gonna have x, y, and then I'm gonna call the function by passing x and y. Right. Now, okay, let's say now you can see without having any problem, it will give me the answer. But if I have entered 40 divided by 0, now 0 division by error happens. Then how can we handle this? How to handle this exception? Okay, try to handle this. Right now we have calling function one calls function 2 performs the division, and the function 2, now they are raise the 0 division error. Then try to handle this one quickly.
So should we use try inside the function or when we call the function?
Okay, so first try putting the try except blocks here, and thereafter here where you call, and thereafter third step try to put it here at the place where you call the function one, and see how the exception propagation happens.
So in all three places we use try.
Only a single, like first you have only try at
At the
here.
time only one. Okay.
Yeah. Then at second time only at this place. And the third
Okay.
only at here.
Okay. Sir.
No point
Thank you.
of even okay, and thereafter we try putting try block here and here. What happens? Oh, like whether the same message is passing to the back likewise. We'll try out.
Okay, sir. Thank
Now, rather doing this, we would have done it here. Right now, let's say we have both. Now this is, let's say, 1 and this is 2. Whether will we get it here? Okay, right. Now only 0, 1 would be displayed. Right now, let's say here, I'm going to have name error, right? I'm handling a specific one, name error. And then you can see the name error cannot handle this exception, which has been thrown, because this is 0 division by error exception is throwing. Therefore, this cannot be handled by name error here. Therefore, since there is no specific 0 division by exception, because then I have the general except which handle all type of exceptions. Therefore, since I have not specified here, right now this will handle here. Because let's say even here it handles only the type error. Right now, there is no matching exception found yet. Now there is no matching exception found here. Right now, even though I have put the exceptions, right now I have no matching exception found. Therefore, 0 division error has not handled here. Therefore, it is propagating down. Now you can see how it has been propagating. Right now, here it is throwing an exception in line number 3 in function 2, and then again in line number 10 in function 1 here, and that is called by line number 18 in the function 1 here. This is where it is called. Therefore, you can see all three is displayed here. Right. And then again, exception occurred point also displayed here like this. Right. Now, even here, now if you put here exception handling, function 1, x1, here if I have 0 division error handled, you can see that can be handled by here. It would say 3. Now you can see cannot divide by 0, 3, because this is handled by here, because this is the, now here when exception is thrown here, the try block raises an exception, and then except block checks for the matching exception handler. Now it handles only name error, therefore it goes to the calling function. This is where the calling point, and there you have another try block. Therefore it will check again whether there is any exception matching exception handler. Here there is no matching exception handler. Therefore again it's gonna go back to the place where it got called. Here it called from here. Now again here it's gonna check for a matching exception handler or the super type of exception handler. Now exact matching exception handler found. Therefore it displays this. Right now, even if you have not declared any exception handler, that means super type of exceptions. Now even that will be handled by the except block because not specified the specific exception handler. Right now, this is how the exception handling happens with the uh, when you call functions, and then how it get propagated down. Right now, if you want to create your own exception, if you want to create your own exception, uh, let's say how to create your own exception. And also we'll have here else and final block as well. What can happen?
So why we need else there?
Sorry?
Why we need else there?
No, I just try to put you like how can we use that?
Okay.
Else block get executed when there is no exception has been thrown. You can see
Yeah,
here.
but if
Sorry?
except we are using except name error. So
Yes, now here
if it
except
is
name
not
error, that means now okay,
thrown,
if you consider only this, I
yeah.
have try block, and then if try block raises an exception, I have the except block to handle it. If there is no exception occurred, then else. That means no exception occurred. No exception.
But if there is no exception, whatever inside the try would
You can't
work.
have else then. If there is no except, you can't have else. This is how, if you are
No,
using
I mean,
try, you need to have except.
yeah,
Try
yeah, that's
except.
okay. Yeah, that's correct, sir. But
If you are using try, you can have try except thereafter. Else, no point of using else. Else is just to there. If the except block is not executed, what to do? Right?
if there is no, if there's no error thrown at except, then whatever inside the try would work. So why do we need else?
Sorry. If there is no,
If there is no error thrown at except,
okay,
then
there's no error, no exception thrown in the try block, and then exception
whatever inside
except.
the try would work. So why do we need else?
Okay, my bad. Right now, what you are saying is now if there is nothing thrown here, is it?
Nothing thrown on the name error exception.
Okay, then okay. Let's
So
see.
whatever inside the try block would work. So why do we need another else statement?
Right now, okay. Let me show you. Now, as per your concern, right now, here, right now, I'm gonna throw an exception now. Right. What happens now? Now the try block has thrown an exception or the raised an exception, which is a division by zero. Right. Therefore, now here this exception handler, right, cannot handle the raised exception by here because this has raised division by zero exception. Therefore, that cannot be handled by name error. Therefore, here now you can see exception has thrown now. Exception has thrown, but that cannot handle by this except block. But no matter, we have discussed that no matter the exception has been thrown or not, the finally block get executed. Right now, previously we discussed that no, even
Yeah.
if they are using a finally clause, therefore, if there is no matter whether there is an exception thrown or not, the finally block will get executed. Therefore, here it would display finally one. Right? Finally one get displayed. Now here else statement will not get executed. Why? Because there is an exception thrown. Since exception thrown and no matching exception handler found, here this won't get executed. Right now, then it has thrown an exception. Now that exception has been forwarded to here. Now,
Okay.
again, now it checks because this is where it started. Therefore, it has been thrown to here. Then here it will check whether here it will check Right, is there a matching exception handler? Right now, there is no matching exception handler. Right now, now let me put else statement here as well. And let me put the final block here as well. Finally, 2. Right now, okay, 10 and 2. Right now, you can see here no exception thrown because 10 divided by 2 is 5.0. Now, except try block does not raise an exception. Therefore, there is nothing in the exception handler to handle because no exception has been thrown. Therefore, it displays the else because saying no exception occurred. And then, anyway, no matter what, since exception thrown or not, it would display finally block. Therefore, it would display finally 1. Then this was returned back to here. Now it is here. Then here there is no exception thrown. Therefore, again, else statement prints no exception occurred. Here it has to display as 2. No exception occurred 2. And then no matter what, final block get executed, finally 2. Right now, the same thing I'm going to put it here. These are 3 and 3, finally 3. Right now, if I run 10 and 2, now you can see here, since no exception occurred, therefore else statement get executed, finally get executed because finally executed no matter what. Then here inside this function again, no exception thrown, therefore else statement get executed, finally get executed. And here no exception thrown, therefore else statement get executed, finally get executed. Right now let me throw an exception. 10 divided by 0. Right now what happens? This is throwing an exception now. Why? Division by 0. Therefore, it will throw an exception. Therefore, here it will check for the exception handler is not there. Then else keyword cannot get executed. Why? Exception has been thrown now. No matter what, finally displays finally 1. And it comes here and checks. Again, there is no respective exception handler. Therefore, again it displays the finally 2. Now it comes here, and this is where the original calling point. If there is no exception handler, now there is an exception, a superclass handler like except handles all type of exceptions. Therefore, it displays cannot divide by 0, and then no matter what, it will display final. By any chance, if you have here also, let's say key error. Now, not the division by 0 exception. Now, what do you think? What will happen now? Now you can see here, it will stop the program and then it will display 0 division by error has been thrown. Right now, here Pute, else statement, we are using else statement like not required actual. Else statement means if the exception has not been thrown, if there's nothing happen inside the try block, if there is no exception thrown, then the try block get executed. For an example here, if there is not everything went well, then else statement get executed. All 3 cases. Why? Because no exception occurred. Right? Anyway, if you use the final block get executed no matter what. Is that clear?
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Okay, try out this if you wish quickly. And then I'm gonna go into the file handling. Right now in file handling, right now file IO error would happen. Right now, Python supports for creating file, reading the content from the file, or writing to a file, or removing the file. Those functions or those options are supported by Python. Right now, the mainly you need to know how to open the file. Then that is done by open function. Right now, for an example, here if I say f equals open, and if I'm gonna say log.txt. Now there is no such a file called log.txt. And like if I use only f.open log.txt, right? Now, right now, let's see what will happen. Now you will see now the file not found error occurs because in my desktop, right now I have not created a file called log.txt. Right now, if you are when you are opening right now here, you can pass some attributes, some flags you can pass. Right now, if you are want to read the content from the file, you need to use R. Now remember these flags. R for read, R for read, R for read, and then we have A for append the text, update the text. W for write, W for write, and X for create. And if you are using for R, that means you are trying to read the file. If you say A, that is for append. If you say W, that is for writing. If you for X, that is for create. Right now, if you want to, let's say, create the file, right now, you can use X. Right now, for the time being, the file is not there. Therefore, I'm going to say X. Right now, what it says X. Right now, X you need to pass as a you just can't pass like this, no? Then now let's see. Okay, now you can see now it has created a file in the desktop. It has created the file in the desktop called log. Right now, if you check the desktop, right now you can see the log.txt has been created. Right now, if you try to again run this, now this would raise an error because why? File exists. Because if the file is existing, you can't create the file again. Therefore, it will give you a file exist error. Right now, let me remove the file. Let me remove the log.txt. Right. If you have removed it, then when you run it, it won't give any error. Therefore, write down or remember. If you use the X as the flag with the file name, if the file is not available, it will create one. Right? If the file is available, it will give you an error saying file exists error. Right. Now, if you want to write, now if you want to write from the file, if you want to write to the file. Right now, if you want to write to the file, now you can see there are two flags we could use, either A, either W, either A or W. Right now, if you use W, right now I want to use for writing. If I use W, and then I'm gonna use f dot file dot write hello file dot write hello slash n, right? File dot write hello slash n, and then I'm gonna close the open file dot close. Right now, let's say I need to run several times, and then since we have already know about how to get the date, right now, since you know how to work with the date and time, let's see how to get the date and the time. First, I'm going to create a date object. Right now, how can I get the date, current date? Tell me quickly how to get the current date. Hello, tell me quickly. We need to import date time, date time. Okay, import date time, and then we can say d is equal date time dot now. Date time dot now. And then I'm gonna write hello executed at plus D. Right now, would I be able to write D? Right now, does it say? You cannot concatenate string to a date time object. Right now, how can I do that? Like converting this one to a string, will it work? What do you think? Right now, you can see the errors we are getting. Right now, let me open the file and see what has happened here in the desktop in the log file. Now it says executed and this time. Right. Okay, then the problem here is no matter executed. Right now, no matter the problem is the right will replace all the things. Right is replacing all the things. Therefore, right now since it is replacing, now what we can do is, because no, if you write several times, if you execute this several times, now one, let's say again one, again one, again one. Likewise, I have executed several times, but it does not contain multiple logs. It says execute. Right now, why is that? Let me save this and right now let's open it and see. Now you can see only one record is there because it replaces. It replaces. W replaces. Therefore, if you want to append, then you have to work with A. A will append. Therefore, A will append right now, and it will append. Now the problem here is again, right now, it all the things would be together. See, because I have not used the separators. Therefore, let me delete this file. Uh-oh. Right now, what I'm going to do is here now, I have deleted the file and then I'm going to put /n at the end. /n is to go to the next line. Then I'm going to put the /n in order to go to the next line. Now let's run several times and then let's open it and see how it looks like. Now you can see the records are getting updated. Right now, this is how we write into a text file. Okay, now let's see how can we read from the text file, because the way we write, now we know, then we need to know, because
Sir,
now, yeah.
give me 2 minutes. I'm just taking notes. I'll,
Okay, please. Okay. Right now. Okay, you can try out. Remember now the flag. Write down the flags as well. X is for create. Write the create file. Error if exist. And W is for write. Replace all the content. Replace the content. And A for append. A is for append. Like now, this is what happens. And then R is for reading. Now, thereafter, we need to worry about how to read. Right. How to read the content. Right now, these are the flags that you need to remember. Right. Now, the same way, right now, you could copy paste this and then you could read log.txt, or you are opening file with the read mode, and then you could read inside the print f.read. Again, there are certain methods available, read line likewise, that you could try out. Now you can see here, every time when you run this, the new records are there. Even you can see 55, 56, even here 57. Right now, this is how you read the content of the file. Right? Okay, then okay, let's say now if you want to delete the file. Now, if you want to delete the file what you have created, you no longer require to work with the file. Then, if you want to delete the file, let's say I'm going to import uh, the OS package as well. First, I'm going to create the file. Let's say I'm going to create the file f.log. Okay, I'm going to create the file. Right. And then here I'm going to delete the file. First, right now, let's say I'm going to before I'm creating the file, let's say I'm going to delete the file. Then I'm going to say os.remove the log.txt file. Right now, the problem here is if the file is there, no worries. This will give us an no, it won't give us any error. It would delete it. Right now, the file is there. Therefore, that would get deleted. And then again, here I'm creating the file. Okay, therefore, it will work out. Okay, let me right now append one also will create the file. Right now, let's right now let me delete it first. Now I have deleted. Now when I try to run again, I will get an error saying file not found error. Why? File has been removed, therefore file not found error. Therefore, if you want to check whether before you delete this, if the file is available or not, then you can use an if condition if os.path.exists the file name. If it is exist, it will return true. Then you could delete the file. Right. If it is available, you can delete the file. Thereafter, you could. Right now, here if you run this now, you can see it won't give any error because why the file is no longer available. No worries. Why? Here it won't raise an error because file if the file available, then only it will remove. Right now, here I'm gonna delete the file, then I'm gonna create the file, then I'm gonna read the file, append the file, and I'm gonna read the file. Right. Now here only concern is now you will be able to see only one line every time because why? You write only one line and then you delete it. You want to write one line, you delete it. Likewise, then here you won't see multiple lines here. This is how you delete a file. Right. Yes. Who was it? Valprasad. What was the question?
No, so what does that OS mean?
OS is a package. Oh,
What is
module. Sorry,
the
not a
full
package. We
form
call
of
module.
OS?
Huh?
What is the full form of OS?
The full format. That is the full form. Like I did not give an alias.
OS is, I mean, it's not like operating system or something. It's not abbreviation.
That is the module name is OS. Right now,
Oh,
Python has a math module. Like Python has an OS module. Python has a date module. OS is a, right now a built-in module in Python.
okay.
That is to interact with the operating system. Yes,
Okay.
that is to interact with the operating system. Right now, OS is to interact with the operating system.
Okay.
That is the inbuilt module. Right now, what's inside the OS module? How can you check? How to check? I told you previously. How can you check what are the methods available in a module? How to check? How to check whether what are the things inside um, function, whatever the things inside a module? Using what? You could use print, and then you should remember this dir. Oh, yes. Direct. All right. Print dir. Now, these are the methods available in the OS module. Now, from here, we have used the path and we have used the remove method. There you may find the remove here. This is the one we have used remove. And here, this is what we have used the path. You may find path, tribute, and the remove likewise. That's the path, path. Here, see, path and the remove. These are the two things we have used. Okay. Right. Now this is how you try out dir method. That is um to display all the available methods inside that particular module. Right. Okay. Try out this now. This is not required at this point. Now, since if you know f strings, you can use f strings. We have discussed about f string, right? Therefore, you can use f strings also in order to write into text files. Now I want to create the file at here. Therefore, here I'm going to set the file path as c users test at log.txt f path. Now the removing thing, if you are okay with that, then we can. Right now, what is the problem here? Unicode escape codec cannot decode bytes. Therefore, now for what type? Like now you just copy into the way the file explorer gives, no? Therefore, that won't work here. Therefore, how can you do that? Is it like this? Or will it work like this? Oh, I don't know. See, that's how you could use. Now, remember, when you copy the file path from the file explorer, it gives you like this. Now, this is totally different from what you have copied. See, you need to change the slashes into forward slashes. Now, here you have backward slashes, no? Therefore, change it to forward slashes. Then the file get created on that particular folder where in the C desktop test there you see log.txt. That is how you work with the full path,
So sorry, sir.
right?
Can I ask you another question?
Yes, please.
Sorry, I remember from other programming language we use at sign in front of that string. Can we use the same here? Or just
At sign,
something similar?
at sign or two
Yeah.
backward slashes.
Uh, no, in front of the string we use at sign annotation.
At annotation. Which
So,
language?
I think it's C sharp. C sharp or Java.
I cannot remember where I have used the at sign. I don't think. Why don't you quickly try and check? All right. I don't think we use at sign there. Right now, there you have system.io, right? Right. You are talking about this at sign in the sense like this, is it? Whatever the file path, if it is FP right now here. Okay, let me copy from the right. Yeah, I got it. What you are saying. Right now, if you want to give the file path, you copy the file path, and then here use at call right now. Is this the way you are talking?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Will that work in Python also?
I don't think, no, it won't work. You can just try out. Let's see. I don't think this will work, but we'll try it. But I haven't tried. Therefore, right now, let me make it as a comment. Log.text. Right. That won't work. Invalid syntax.
I think simple R works for Python.
Sorry?
Simple R.
Simple?
It makes R, letter R.
I didn't get you. Where? Here?
Letter R. Yes, yes,
R.
yes.
Okay. Maybe I am not. Yes, it works. I don't know. What is this flag? I don't know what is this.
It makes a raw string. Makes it a raw string.
Sorry, what it does?
It makes it a raw string. RAW. Raw string.
Okay, what does it happen? Variable assignment. Row string literal. The R before the string indicate that is a row string literal in Python. Row string treat backslashes as literal characters. Right, that's fine. Okay, now this is what you need to understand then here. When you use the R, and what happens here is um, it is considered as a row string literal. And then what happens in the row string literals is, in the row string literal, it treats the backslashes as a literal character. Because here when you use the backslashes, now the Python consider it as a Unicode unscaped character, no? Unscaped sequence. Therefore, um, here now when you consider it as a row string treat the backslash as a literal character and do not interpret them as an escape characters. Therefore, since it do not interpret as escape character, it works. Right now, this is also this is used for the same purpose as we did. Right. Okay, thank you. That is for my knowledge as well.
Thank you.
And right, thank you.